Good evening, everybody. My name is Cindy, and I'm here together with Tamala. Very much welcome to our show, To Psychics No Limits, and it is our second show. And today we're going to discuss karma, resonance, but we are also talking about other services that we provide. I just would like to give you a little bit more background on why we actually set up this channel. And Tamala and I have actually quite a lot of life experience in common, and we thought maybe this is a good idea to actually share this with you listeners. And this way, we actually try to make topics, normal or discussable. A lot of topics are still we are asked to be ashamed of, or we are not able to talk about them. Please keep it for yourself. Don't share it with anybody. And actually, we would like to break through these barriers. And in our very first video that we did, we were talking about trans-channeling, because Tamala and I, we both trans-channel our own spirit team. And and today we would like to talk a little bit further about our other services that we offer. So Tamala, would you like to start with introducing yourself and about the services that you offer?
Sure, thank you, Cindy. My name is Tamala Malay, and you can check out my website at yourownsoul.com. And right now, this is October 16th, and right now I have an opening for my Manifesting Mastermind training. It's a 6-month deep dive into manifesting, into helping you understand how you are uniquely designed to manifest, which is different from the way that anybody else is designed, and really working through the sabotages, the shadows, the blocks and restrictions that you have, and moving you into being able to manifest and change your life on purpose, at will, using your own unique manifesting blueprint. And so if you want to check that out, you can go to yourownsoul.com/MB for Manifesting Blueprint. And that is open right now. The early bird registration ends tomorrow, October 17th, 2018. And then regular registration is open until the following week. So hopefully you see this. I have openings for 12 people in the class. It's a really small class because we go really deep and we do lots of work. And so that is what is my primary focus, and my intention right now is for that. I also do Akashic Records clearing, past life and present life blocks and restriction removal. And you can check that out on the main page at yourownsoul.com. Scroll down to the soul profile reading and clearing and check out that information there as well.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Do you want to share a little bit more about the empowerment that do you have classes on empowerment as well?
I do, but what I'm doing right now is a channeling session. It's every month, and Zed, the group of higher vibrational beings that I channel, is teaching a class called Living a Congruent Life. And so if you want to check that out, you can go to yourownsoul.com/ZE-ED. And it's really about you understanding your own superpowers, right? Your own way that you manifest, which is in the manifest blueprint, but then how you can align and be congruent with your thoughts, your words, your actions, and your emotions, which are going to help you really be empowered in bringing in those things that are resonant for what you want, and releasing those things that are no longer resonant for you or that are not what you want. And so for me, empowerment is all about being able to control your circumstances, to change things at will, and to be able to be aware of the process and how you do that so that you can do it on purpose, right? It's being empowered is not life happening to you.
Mm,
And that's
yes.
what so many people think is, well, life is just happening to me, and that's not true. That
Mm-hmm.
means that you're not aware of how you are manifesting everything, because everything in your life is what you are manifesting. And if you don't like something, you can change it. You just have to know how. And that's
Yeah.
what I teach people how to do.
Oh, super. I think that will help a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah. It makes a huge difference. And the
Yeah.
people who learn how to do it, it's remarkable. Remarkable.
Mm-mm. Yeah, that's a pity. I think that a lot of people are not aware. At least I was not even aware myself that, what you said, like life is not happening to me. I created myself.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not taught that.
No.
And a lot of people, they've heard of the law of attraction, right? So they understand, they have the concept of like attracts like. But the thing is, it's not only that. The law of
Mm-mm.
attraction is a universal law that works all the time. You can't change the law of attraction. You just cooperate with the law of attraction to attract what you want. And what I teach you is how to do that cooperation so that you can get what you want the way you're designed.
Mm-mm.
Hmm.
Super.
What about you?
I am offering as well for next to the transgendeling my own spirit team, Carla, and sound treatments. Um, I think I mentioned in the last video that I call it like sound healing, but I prefer not to use the word healing because healing is actually being done by the clients themselves. It is the clients, surrendering for whatever is going to come. It is also, when you're not open to receive a service or you're not open to receive a treatment, then also not much will happen.
Hmm.
And for the ones who are not really into transchanneling or are not relating to sound healing with my crystals, I offer as well deep emotional transformation codes, and the short version of it is DETC. And it is a method that I can, by using the body testing. So I make a connection with your or with the client's body to find out the subconscious blocks, the emotions that are behind the block. And with a subconscious block is, for example, I just give an example of my own life. I had one from my father, and he grew up with the belief that he again received from his father or from his family. He had the belief that he is not allowed to have any fun, so it is the belief of life is a struggle, it should be harsh, you cannot have any joy, it should not have any fun, you should be in pain, you should suffer, and you should not be happy. So that was one of the belief systems that my father had, and I got that one too. So a subconscious block is, when I look at myself, is I know there is something that doesn't go really like smooth, but there is, for me, it is very hard to actually change a block because you're not really sure. I was not really sure where it would come from, and it also did not really make sense. You know what I mean? It's like, why do I have this? Where is it coming from? And then I found out that it is actually coming from one of my parents. So these are this is an example of a subconscious blocks, and we all have them actually. They can come from your ancestors, and you do not know what your ancestors have been doing, and it has been passed down the line through all the children. Might end up with you like it did with me.
Mm-hmm.
And through this system, I really like this method, and it is more for people who are actually not really keen in working together with spirit, but still would like to work on themselves and on their mental well-being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. So you give some options for that.
Yeah, because I understand that for a lot of people, working with spirit it is not yet, I think, a common thing. And that you actually can ask spirit, for advice or for guidance. So we have also a belief, a belief against against spirit.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, as in, they are scary, they might hurt you, or in that kind of sense.
Right.
Yeah. So what is your opinion, or how do you, when people are saying, like, how do you know that the spirit that you are working with is not a negative one?
Well, that's a great question. Well, when I'm doing my Akashic record work, I'm not working with a spirit. I'm actually working in the Akashic records themselves. And there's no negativity there because it's a library of all of the choices that that people have made. So that's neutral, right? When I'm working with Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael, of course, they're positive beings of light. And when I connect with people and I'm working with their soul blueprint and their manifesting blueprint, I'm connecting to their soul. So it's really interesting because people's souls, the people that I attract to my business are all light beings, they're all beings of light. I don't have anyone that is attracted to me that is a negative spirit or what someone might call a negative or a dark spirit, because I just don't resonate with that.
Yeah.
Now I do channel that group of beings called Zed. And I can see where there might be a question there about how do you know whether they're good beings or bad beings, right? I have actually had experiences in my life before I started channeling spirit with negative beings. I had my ex-husband had some negative beings attached to him, and I actually got some attached to me through my connection with him. So they ended up showing up as, hindering my ability to be able to do things. And they become, you can get them in lots of different ways. But my connection with him is what created that opportunity for them then to attach to me. And so it wasn't a demon, right? Demons are something different. There's something that if you have a demon attached to you, it has mega symptoms, right? So you would know, right? It's very much like the Exorcist movie, right?
Yeah.
You would know, and other people would know that you have a demon. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about are energies that are not supportive for you, that are not working in your best interest. They're creating blocks or restrictions. They're diverting you. They're making you sick, right? They're draining your energy. Those are what in my work that I call negative entity attachments. But it doesn't mean that they're bad souls or that they're bad beings. They're just drawing energy from you, right? Well, Zed is not like that. Zed is a group of beings that live on the edges of expansiveness, and they are here at this time working with us on the planet for the time of change that's here. They are actually part of the collectives that are here to help support planet Earth and the people on the Earth for the evolutionary change that's happening right now. Now, there are negative beings that are on the planet. There are beings that we would consider to be negative. And what I mean when I say that is they're here against the change, right? There's people here for the change, and there are people here that are against the change. There are spirits that are for the change, and there are spirits that are against the change. And the way that I tell the difference is I tap into their resonance. And I can see because I also am a visual person, and I see things through my third eye. When I tap in and check things, I get pictures and visions of what they are, who they are, how they show up behind their mask. And so when I check, can find that out. Now, have there been times when I didn't check? Yes, because I'm also a very trusting soul. But now I've learned to actually tap in and check people, just to see, because those spirits that are not supportive can also wear masks or shells. They can project things that are not true. And so I always just kind of tap into that first to see, you know, is any of that going on, or are they genuine? So that was kind of a long, drawn out answer. What about for you?
For me, it is what you said, like about the resonance. You know, I don't believe that I will be working with like lower vibration entities, or, you know, I've got such a trust in my own spirit team, Carla, that they are actually, you know, they as in protect me, or actually, you know, help me guide, as in, or actually maybe even bringing forward the spirit that I will need to work with. That they are actually doing like this pre-screening for me. That is how I feel it. Yeah, so it is for me more that I believe in the resonance. If I don't believe in a negative entity, because, you know, when people are saying negative, or like a bad spirit, I don't see them as bad, as in necessarily like a bad spirit. It is more that I see that as a spirit which has a certain amount of lack of love.
Lack of love.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, that is how one of my teachers actually told me this. They said, you know, bad spirits don't exist. It is just the same kind of, you know, consciousness that we are, or a spirit, but it has a lack of love. It does not want to, you know, hurt you, or it doesn't know anything better. So I relate that more on the conscious level, awareness level.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I agree. And I think that's, you know, what you were saying with the lower vibrational people are that's what they are. Those are those people who lack love. But I will say I have experienced beings who are dark, negative beings, and they do exist. But they're different.
Yeah.
They're not lower vibrational beings only. You know, you can have a positive soul that is a lower vibration, right? They're just immature.
Yeah.
Right? They're learning and they're growing and they're raising their vibration as they mature, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's also part of what you know, we can think of with the political climate in the US, right? There are lower vibrational souls that are looking for money instead of caring for people, right? I mean,
so they are after the greed.
Yeah, that's a direct sign of a lower vibration.
Yeah.
But there are actual beings out there that do harm on purpose, that are quote negative souls. And those are the ones that we need to be concerned about, right? The other ones we need to pray for, right?
Yeah.
We need to encourage, we need to help and assist. But there are those negative souls, those draconian souls, that the Bible called, quote, the devil, right? The ones that are there to kill, steal, and destroy. Those actually do exist. And I've seen them, but I don't attract them into my experience.
Yeah, because you are not vibrating on that level, so you will not.
Correct. And I've cleared out the things that attracted them to me in the past. You know, you talked about having those energetic vibrations that were passed down through your generations, right? Through your DNA, through your family.
Mm-hmm.
You have those, you have past choices, either in this lifetime or previous lifetimes. You have connections, soul contracts with other people, right? That will be toxic. And that toxicity can attract these negative souls into your experience. Being around or putting yourself and having karma that would include that kind of negativity,
Mm-hmm.
also a way where that can show up. And it's something that you really want to address so that you can clear it out and move on because you don't need that in your experience.
No.
It's not for your good.
Mm-mm. And what would you consider under karma?
What? Ask your question again. I don't know what you mean.
Well, you said like we also have karma. How do you see karma? Because I think that a lot of people see karma as like a payback thing. Like, oh, something bad happened to you, you will have it one day back for sure.
Well, for me, the way that I work with karma is it's just the consequence of our choices.
Mm-hmm.
It's not positive or negative. Karma is neutral. It's just the results of our choices. And so we have a karmic wheel, right, that we're working in, but we also have our own individual karma based on all of our choices.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally is simply we make a choice, we get a consequence. And it doesn't mean it's a bad consequence, right? Eating healthy and exercising can lead to a healthy body, right? That's a consequence. It's just the consequence. That's how I work with that. How do you work with karma?
Well, I see karma as like a life lesson. It is what you say, like you've got a karmic wheel. And I learned that there are many things that we can have karma with. We can have karma with food, we can have karma with sex, we can have karma with gossiping, you know. This is all things, or like a behavior or a program or pattern that we have that will then actually need to be stopped. Because, for example, if you would have a karma on with food, for example, if you are when somebody is very much attached to food because, I don't know, like an emotional connection with it, you know. I think a lot of people have like a distorted relationship with food. I will maybe come back to that later. But when you would come back to Earth in a different life, you have not resolved it in this life, and you come back to another one, you most likely will still have this connection with food, which is not healthy. So you're actually coming back to here or another planet to actually resolve that karma.
Yes.
And you're dragging it along from life to lifetime to lifetime. So actually, with the services that we offer, we are actually stopping the entire, or not the entire, but we are able to stop this karmic wheel and also attract other things, like what you do with the law of attraction.
Mm-hmm.
Attract other things. Yeah. So coming back to like a distorted relationship with food, it is, I had a discussion with one of my friends yesterday night, and I gave an example, you know, for example, in the UK, a lot of people are drinking tea. And somebody said, you know, I've got this relationship with tea because I've learned that when I'm feeling bad or I'm in a negative mood, my aunt or my mother would say, have a cup of tea and then you will feel better. So you've got this emotion of, oh, I feel bad, let me drink a cup of tea. But you're actually not looking into, you know, the cause of why are you in a bad mood. You're putting that into a drink. Yeah. Or, you know, look at little children, like, oh, you have had a very good behavior today at school. Here you've got candy, you know. But candy is it is full of sugar. It sticks, you know, in your digestive system, and then children will also relate good behavior with candy.
Yep.
And then after a while, children might think like, oh, but I've had a good behavior today, why I'm not getting candy today? Is there something that I have done wrong, you know? So that is the whole process, like a mental process,
Yeah.
of how we look at food.
Hmm. Yeah, that's completely true.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I think that is also something that there's so much fast food, you know, out there. You've got a lot of unhealthy foods, but I think we eat that because it's like a comfort.
Yeah.
I do it as well, but you know, it is it is seen as a comfort.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I agree.
Yeah. So I actually prefer to. It is maybe not easy to look at the cause why somebody is feeling sad or is in pain. It is because of the memory that people have, you know. So when I look at my own journey of going through subconscious blocks or my mental state, it is. So when you're a child, when you come here, you are all about, you're like pure, you want to have fun, you want to have joy. You're not looking at life as an adult, you know. You think everything is fun, everything is beautiful. You're like completely in and now, you're playing, you've got your toys, you've got your friends, life is good. And then you've got all those warnings from adults. You know, when you're growing up, it will become worse. You need to pay attention to that and that and that. And you're like, oh yeah, well, life might be very hard, you know. And where am I actually going with this? There was something about the karmic wheel. Oh, I completely lost it. No. Oh yeah, so the memory. So when something bad happens, because we might even believe what somebody else told us, maybe like, you know, an adult, if you're going to believe what is going to happen, you will absorb it, and then you will actually attract a certain situation or a certain person that actually make you feel not, you're like unhappy or sad or you're in pain. It is the first memory that we have as a child that is painful. And that is maybe also hard. I had a hard time as well looking inside of my heart. I was like, oh, this is very sad. But it is the memory, the first encounter that we had with a certain situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I would look at my life, that would have the same emotion or like attached to a certain situation, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, here we go again. You know, I know how it goes. It is less painful. It is the most painful part is the first time that you actually encounter it. And that is maybe is the memory of what happened.
Mm-hmm. And then what do we do with that memory?
I would actually say that I would see it as transform the memory, as in because we put this focus on the pain
Mm-hmm.
that has been caused. But when you are looking at it from a different angle, it's like a before and after, you know. Before you were not aware that something could happen, and after we're like, oh, I need to pay attention to that because actually this taught me this and that and that. You know, these painful situations help you grow as a person,
right?
As a soul. We need to have actually those. It sounds very harsh and not so pleasant, but we actually require these painful situations and encounters in order for us to grow. And I think, it's my own opinion, is that we know why we're growing or how we are growing is by looking at what happened in the past and understand what it was the teaching or what was it that I actually got out of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see it in the same way or do you see it differently?
No, I do very much. And a lot of my work, like with the past life and present life blocks and restrictions, it's about making a different choice.
Yeah.
Because like you said, even with the past life stuff, if we have karma, right, we've created some kind of energetic entanglement some kind of agreement with another soul, some binding or pact or contract or, some of these entanglements. And we leave that incarnation, right? We die, we transition without that stuff being resolved. Then when we incarnate again, we still have those energetic entanglements. And so we have to deal with those until we make a different choice.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. My ex-husband was an abusive alcoholic. Now, when we met, we were friends for 10 years, and he got divorced, I got divorced, and we fell in love, like head over heels, angels singing, just, right? Love. And the first year and a half or so, it was blissful. And then the karma kicked in. And it was abusive. It was mentally abusive, physically abusive, sexually abusive. It was just bad. And it took me 8 years to get me and my children out of that situation without somebody dying. And I didn't know, because it was after that time, several years after that I got into the Akashic Record work and even got back to my gifts, right? Because I had shut my gifts down for over 30 years. And when I discovered the Akashic Record work, I realized, like, I had an epiphany. I had a session with someone, and I went to bed and processed everything that night. And I woke up the next morning, I came into the living room, and I just burst into tears. And my beloved was like, "Oh my God, what's happened?" And I was just sobbing and sobbing and sobbing, because I could see all of the karma, all the contracts that we had made with one another that caused us to continually incarnate together over and over. And every time we did, it got more toxic and more toxic and more toxic and more toxic. And how this lifetime, I had finally been able to make a different choice. Because in previous lifetimes, I had killed him, he had killed me, we killed each other, I committed suicide, right? I mean, there's all kinds of different things that had happened that weren't choices that fixed or resolved it, right? They just made it continue.
Yeah.
And so I had to actually make that choice in this lifetime to leave without anybody getting hurt. And it was difficult. It was hard. But, and it took a while, but it happened. And so that karma was completed. So even without doing the clearing work, I had completed that karmic process, so that I don't have to incarnate with him anymore. I'm done.
Yeah.
And that is hugely, hugely, hugely important for all of us to understand, that when we create those energetic entanglements with other people, they don't just go away. We have to make a different choice, and we have to make the different choice in the dimension that we created it. So if we're in a body when we create these things, if we're incarnated, we've got to make the choice to fix it while we're incarnated, right? Because I've had people say, well, when I die, I'm going to know what everything is, and I'm just going to fix it there. Doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that. You have to make the choice in the choice you created, karma. And so for me, it's really powerful for people to understand their own responsibility, right? And that nothing is happening to them. Everything that's happening in your experience is because of choices you made, either in this lifetime or a previous lifetime.
Yeah.
Period. And it may be stuff, and you look at it, and I was sexually abused as a child by 3 different people, 3 different times. I was an innocent child. There was no reason in this lifetime why I would have been sexually abused. But in past life experiences, I allowed myself to be used for sex. I chose to allow myself to be used as a, what's the word? I don't have a word for it right now.
Mhm.
But because I had accepted that as part of who I was, I had accepted myself as a sexual slave, if you will. When I incarnated, I carried that energy with me. And so I was open to being somebody's sexual slave again
Mm.
because I hadn't made a different choice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's really super powerful for us to understand that we're in charge.
Mm-mm.
And if we want to change stuff, we've got to make a different choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for being that open and sharing
You're
this.
welcome.
Yeah.
I'm an open book.
Thank you. I think we need that,
Yeah.
to have
Yeah.
open books. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One thing I want to say is also that, you know, we were just going back to, you know, being taught. We are not being taught about karma or the karmic wheel. Karma is seen as something like, oh, you have done something bad, you know, you will be punished for it.
Right.
So we have been somehow like misled as in, you know, we believe in something which is absolutely not correct. And yeah, I think that we need to stop this.
I agree. But that's what both of our work is about, right?
Yes, exactly. Because
Yeah.
it's also we did another video like last week, but we had like technical errors, so that's why we did not continue on the second week doing a video. But in that video, we actually were talking about oh shoot, I lost it again. That we are both here. Oh, you know, we are both here to provide a service to anybody who would like to be healed. And we are not going to, you know, we are both not in a position. I think nobody's actually in a position of to say like, well, this is what you will need to do. So you need to fix yourself. It is on, you know, clients themselves to say, and recognize, but also what you have mentioned, like the responsibility of saying to yourself, and you know, and acknowledge as well, I am bothered with something and I will need to look into that because my life that I'm leading right now is not what I want to keep for, you know, forever.
Mm-hmm.
I want to change that. And we cannot say like, you know, we cannot tell you that what you need to change. It is your choice.
Mm-hmm.
It's your choice. Ah, yeah. So coming back to what I actually wanted to say and forgot, when I was that happens to me all the time. So, you know,
You're just getting a lot of information in.
yeah, and it goes. Then it's also when I talk to people, a lot of information comes in, but it goes so fast in my head that. That's why I sometimes also talk very fast because I want to keep up with what is coming in with the downloads. And, you know, it doesn't stay, it moves on.
Yep.
And it goes to another topic. And I'm like, oh, what was it? Okay, so going back to what I want to say is when I was a child and I had like situations that I was in, for example, my father said something to me and I was completely disagreeing with what he wanted me to do. And I was so upset. I was like, no, this is not going the right direction. One of my very strong beliefs that I, not as, maybe not even a belief, but something that I heard over and over again. Stop. I am the last person. I'm the end station. I'm the last station. This is not going to be passed down. We're going to transform it. And that's what I had when I was a child. Like, this is just not, you know, I disagree. I don't want to pass it on to my own children. I want to change it. But it is not only for my benefit, it is also for, you know, for my family, also for my father and for my mom. It is when I can come back to the subconscious blocks. So the block that I mentioned was one from my father of not having fun in life. You need to suffer, you need to be in pain, life is not enjoyable. When I remove that block within my own subconscious and change it in my energetic field, that has a direct effect as well on my dad. So he will feel something. He will feel different. He might not know what happened because I did not tell him, but he will feel different, and this block will also be removed from his energetic field. And if it comes from his father, we can remove it from his father too. So you're not only doing it for yourself, you're doing it also for the rest of your family. And it does not matter if they are still alive or if they have passed away. For example, with my mom, I had also blocks from my mom. Mm-hmm. She passed away 3 years ago. But when I remove a block that I received from her, because everything is energy, I can remove it also for her, on her behalf. Mm-hmm. So whenever at least this is what I hope for, whenever she is going to be reincarnated again, that she will not walk around with this block anymore because it has been removed.
Right, and you're talking about the genetic blocks, right? The things that come down through the DNA, not her choices.
No, that is for the free will that everybody makes a choice. Even though when people are not aware of it, because I've heard many times people saying like, I did not have a choice. I do not have a choice. You always have a choice.
Always have a choice. It may not be something you want to do, but you got a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you've got you in a moment when you are maybe pushed in a corner, you've got a choice of screaming, or a choice of being silent, or choice of pushing this person away. There's always a choice.
Right. And a lot of times we don't see our choices because we're so programmed by our beliefs that we think that we're helpless, or that we're victims, or that we're martyrs, right?
Yeah.
We follow those archetypes and those archetypal patterns, and we abdicate our own power, right? We just say, oh, I can't, I'm helpless. I've been in those situations where I felt absolutely helpless. Mm-hmm. And I had to actually say, okay, there's always something that can be done. What can I do? What can I do? And if you can start there, it's something, it's a move forward. And that's what I did, is, easing myself and my kids out of that abusive relationship. It was, what can I do? And I just started taking those baby steps.
Yeah. And a lot of other things are coming with it, right? Believing in yourself, having the confidence in yourself to make that step. Because as soon as you are becoming fearful of, maybe with the thought of what is going to happen when I do this, then you're going like spiral down. You go back into negativity, and then you might go back again where you were. But when you stay in your, in your own confidence, like, this is going to work. We're just doing it, what you said, step by step. We're going to change it. We're going to transform it. And then you come out as in like, this is such a victory. I can do it, And then you feel you're like, yay.
Yeah, I did it.
Yeah, exactly. You are aware that you are able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you come out so much stronger.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Completely transformed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Mm-mm.
So let's talk about free will.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts on free will?
Free will is, okay, for me, it is like that nobody can tell me what I should do, because I have the free will to say yes or no. Mm-hmm. So already when I was a child, when people would say to me what I should do, I already object, actually. So when people would say you have to turn left, I go right. It might
rebellion.
I don't want to be a pain, but it is how, I don't know, just like, oh, I don't want to say like a platform, but it is like how it is built in me, like, you know, yeah. So as a child, like if somebody, when somebody would say, do this, and I automatically would have a question, why would I? Or can we not do it in a different way? Or can we not do it like this? Yeah, so when people are coming to me and say what I need to do or what I shall do, I actually already internally, I will object and I will not listen to you, because I have a choice for going with your option. Well, actually, you're not giving me an option. You just tell me what to do, right? And then I already say no.
Right.
It is more like an option, because it is me who will need to execute it. So it is me that will decide yes or no. And if I will say yes, then it is still up to me to decide how am I going to do it.
Right.
But it is also something that we, of course, not in every single situation I've done that, because that is also something that we have learned at school, right? Or when I grow up, like, oh, adults always know better than children, so you need to do what we are saying, and a teacher will come up to you and say, do this, or turn your book open on page 22. You are being told what to do, and then you're getting out of touch with your own intuition, or with your heart, because your heart is, that is your guidance. Yeah. How do you see free will?
Yeah, very much the same. Free will is all about personal responsibility and personal accountability. And anytime we try to interfere with somebody else's free will, that's when we create an energetic consequence, entanglements, like, quote, spells, right? People talk about spells, right?
Yeah.
It's like a witch over a pot, bubble, bubble, toilet, right? Well, what we don't understand is spells are things that you do on purpose, right? To try to interfere with somebody else's free will. But the spell only works if the person that you're quote casting it onto accepts it. Because you can't interfere with somebody else's free will. They have to believe that you have the power to impact them for it to work. And it's the same with curses. People think cursing is saying fuck. That is not cursing. It's not. That's saying a 4-letter word, right? Cursing is when you send negative energy to somebody else. That's what a curse is. And so if you say, oh, you're gossiping, or oh, you're hateful, or oh, you're a liar, right? You're actually cursing those people as being a liar, right? And all of those things that you've shot to them. And they have to receive it. Same thing. So they receive it. So we can't actually interfere with other people's free will.
No.
We think we can. And when we try, we create these energetic entanglements. But for somebody to put something on me, to cast a spell on me, I have to receive it. Or to curse me, I have to receive it. I don't do that anymore. There were 35 years or so where I believed other people could interfere with my free will. I know better now. And free will is the most powerful thing that we have. We can choose to do or not do. Now we get the consequence of our choices, right? Free will doesn't eliminate karma, but free will allows us to be empowered, because we're always have free will. We're always empowered.
Yeah.
And that's the important part, I think.
Yeah. Because we can also very easily give away our power to somebody else.
Yeah, happens all the time.
Yeah. And that is, I think, also something that maybe, or when I look at myself, maybe you're not even aware of. Because it happens automatically.
Yeah. Yep.
And then afterwards, like, oh, I don't really feel so good. And then when looking back at what actually happened, because it can happen very fast, like, a few seconds. And then afterwards, when I'm looking back, like, oh yeah, I gave it away to somebody else. Why would I do that?
Yep.
And it is not because you're upset with the other person. It is more that I'm upset with myself for letting it happen.
Yep. And then what happens is you have to go through the same type of situation again and make a different choice.
Yeah.
Not give your power away next time instead of doing the same thing over and over again, right?
Exactly. Yeah. But I think that people are, when I say people, I mean, like, general. I'm not pinpointing a certain person, but I think we are not really standing still of, or maybe like even conscious of it, that we are doing it.
Right.
It can happen so fast.
Well, and it's because we're programmed not to pay attention to subtleties.
Yeah.
Right? To not pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah.
To ignore our thoughts and to ignore our intuition and to ignore our emotions, which are all flags for us. They're identifiers for us. They're helpers for us that we have when we're here. And we've been programmed to ignore them.
Yeah. Feelings are something that you should not listen to, because they're like, I think even when I grew up, maybe I've been told, like, well, that is like all to mislead you, you cannot trust what your feelings are saying.
Right.
And then when you go
ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, and when you're going to believe that what has been said, then you are like, oh yeah, I indeed cannot trust my own feelings, and then you're completely out of touch. I had no direction at all.
Yeah.
But really, I was still saying to myself, even though you're going to tell me what I should do, I will say no.
Yep. And our feelings really are our indicator. They're part of how our soul speaks to us.
Yeah.
And that tells us whether we're in alignment or out of alignment. And if things feel good, and they truly feel good, not like, oh, well, they're supposed to feel good.
Oh, yeah.
But they truly resonate for you. They feel good. They make you joyful and happy and feel fulfilled and accomplished and empowered, right? Those are the feelings you follow. And those are the ones that tell you that you're on the right track. So keep doing what you're doing. But then those feelings that make you feel separated, that make you feel small or alone or disconnected or hurt or fearful, those are, well, I'm going to take out the fearful. The small and alone and the separated ones, those are the ones that are telling you that you're not on the right track, right? Something's missing here. You've gotten off track here. Adjust, right? Get back into alignment. And the fearful ones are the ones that usually are identified or triggered by our saboteur. Those are the ones that are telling us fight or flight, right? I'm going to argue with this person. I'm going to fight this person. I'm going to run away, right? That's what the fearful does. But that saboteur is also an indicator for you. And what the saboteur indicates for you is that you have access to something new. And new and different is scary. And it can mean that I'm doing something that I've never done before. I'm hearing something I've never heard before. And so that's when the saboteur is going to jump in and make you afraid to keep you safe. Don't want to change, right? Your saboteur, your ego wants to keep you safe right where you are. It doesn't care about your success. And so having awareness of those things is the most powerful thing you can do for yourself. And being aware of these emotions. Okay, what am I feeling? I'm feeling disconnected. Okay, what am I feeling disconnected from? Well, I'm feeling disconnected from my family. Okay, why do I feel disconnected from my family? Well, because I had an argument with Uncle Joe and we disagreed. Okay. Is that something I'm willing to resolve? No. Okay. So what do you want to do? Do you still want to be separated from your family, or do you want to continue to have this disagreement with this person and yet attempt to reconnect with your family, right? You're walking yourself through the process, but you're also acknowledging I have options. And I can choose I don't want to resolve that thing with Joe because he's an ass and I don't want to deal with him anymore. Right? You can actually choose that. That's okay. It's still a choice.
Yeah.
But then you have other choices that you're allowed to make too. And that's the most powerful thing that we have at our disposal, is understanding that.
I think also that's when I look back at my own childhood, I'm a mix, so I've got a European and an Asian part inside of me. But with the European part, it was more like you had no time to reflect on your feelings. They told me as in something happens, reaction. You know, you need to act, you need to react 2 seconds. It was never ever fast enough. So you actually, or I learned not to actually give myself time to look at a certain situation and say, okay, how am I going to cope with this? What I want to get out of this situation that makes, you know, what works for me, but also maybe for the other person. It was more like you are, you know, you're acting very fast without thinking and like, okay, so now it's solved. But it's not solved at all because you're doing something that you think that comes from here, from the mind, from the head, that you think like, okay, so now everything is going to work out. And then when it doesn't work out, then you go back into the head, asking the head like, okay, so where did it go wrong? What should I do next time? Oh, maybe I need to be a little bit more harsh the next time, right. You know? Maybe I need to fight it a little bit more. And then you're actually making this whole entire situation from this small into a huge ball. And then, you know, it can be so big that you actually do not really know anymore where it all started. Because there was no time for me to reflect, as in like, what do I want to do with this? What is the best way for me to cope with this, or what was the best way for me to look at it? What do I want to, you know, what do I want to get out of this?
Which is the most powerful thing you can ask yourself.
Exactly. But I think in this, because everything now is, I'm sure that even now, you know, in the external world, you have no time to think or not even process what happened. There is no time to reflect, and a lot of people are saying like, well, you have to go on holiday to reflect and, you know, charge your batteries. But you know how much can happen, you know, and you've got only like 2 weeks. Your body is maybe completely tired and you are maybe sleeping for, you know, for a whole week, and then afterwards you feel a little bit better, and then you need to go back to work. There's so much information outside. You need to keep up with a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of workload. You know, we are all being directed away from our heart, but also from our feelings. Yeah. So it is more as in, when you were talking, I actually received words as in, you're actually rediscovering yourself. You're reinventing yourself. Who am I? How strong am I?
Who do I want to be?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we are here, you know, to guide you, to help you, to overcome.
Offer options.
Yes. Yeah. Do you got anything else to add?
No, I think that's true. And one thing I tell my students is your head's full of shit. It just is. So if you're ever trying to go up here to make a decision,
Doesn't work.
Your head's full of shit.
Yes.
You have to make all of your decisions from your heart and from your soul space, because your head is full of shit. It's full of programs. It's full of manipulations. It's full of propaganda. It's full of all of these things that are not there to serve you. Right?
Yeah.
Now there's wisdom, but when you get wisdom, when wisdom comes in, even if it's spiritual wisdom and it comes down through your chakra system, wisdom does not go into your head. Wisdom goes down into your heart. And that's where the wisdom is. And that's something that people have forgotten through the eons of being people on this planet, is they think wisdom stops here. Wisdom never stops here. Wisdom always goes to your heart, because that's where it lives.
Yeah.
And if at any time, that's one of the things that I do when I'm doing the coaching sessions with my clients. First thing we do is get out of the head and go into the heart and the soul space. And then we move from there. Because starting from anywhere other than that is futile.
Yeah.
It's not going to get you. It's not going to get you where you want to go. Yeah.
I'm sure that, when you say like, okay, the head will not get you where you want to go. When I look at the corporate world, I'm sure that a lot of, people who are in this business in the corporate world say like, well, I disagree with that, because when I want to have something like, for example, a new job, I really want it and this is what I'm going to get. But I think that in these kind of cases, people are not aware that you actually desire it with your heart. You are really want to have that new job, and you are just like, that is the law of attraction, right? That is really what I want to have, because this is going to be the next step in my career. And it is most likely, this is in your head. But I think that the entire process of really getting that job is coming from here. Your head will not reach anything.
Exactly. Your head is just your head. Your thoughts are important, because if you want to manifest something, if you want to change something, you have to change your thoughts around that thing, right? So your thoughts are important, but your thoughts are fueled by your emotions. And so the fuel to get the thing that you want is your emotions. And really what you're doing is you're changing your physical vibration to align with what you want. And so if you want this job, you're not going to think yourself into this job. No. You're going to think, oh, this is a job. I want this job. I'm qualified for this job, right? I have all of these skills. Look at that. And then it drops down into your emotions. And then you go, oh, I want this job. And as you're wanting the job and you see that you have all the skills to get the job, you're resonating with the job, right? And it resonates and becomes a physical match for you. And that's how you get your job. But if you're not aware that that's how the process works, when you want to change jobs, you may not know how to replicate that. You may not know how to do that again. Or if you want a relationship, or if you want to leave a relationship.
Yeah.
Or attract money. Or anything.
Yeah. Very well said. Yeah. Is there anything else that you would like to add before we close?
I don't think so. I think we did we talked about a lot of stuff today.
Yeah.
What about you?
No, there were like stuff that came out when you were talking, and I was like, oh yeah, judgment. I think about the cursing, like, oh, you're a bad person, and I'm like, oh, that's a judgment.
Yeah.
But a judgment, that also comes up from here.
Right, and there's a difference between judgment and discernment. Right? We're supposed to be discerning. We're supposed to rifle through the thing and say, oh, do I want this or do I not want this? Right? That's discernment. That's good. Judgment is bad when we say something is bad, or when we say someone is bad, or that we're bad, or the thing is bad, right? We're limiting it. That's when judgment becomes a problem, is when it limits us.
Mm-mm.
or it limits other people, right?
Yeah.
Or that's been my experience. What about you?
Yeah, what I want to say is like the mind itself is very limited.
Mm-hmm.
It is super limited. Sorry?
It's full of shit.
You can finish it. It is, and it is super limited. You see things, you might not even see things, you know, that are actually happening in front of your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy to overlook that all.
Yeah.
But people are judging or at least when I speak about from my own point of view, you or I make a judgment on what I see, of course, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it has been a process. You hear all the time like, oh, you should not judge. It is very easy said to tell somebody like, oh, you should not judge. But when you are actually conscious, when you're judging either yourself or another person or a situation, I was like, oh shoot, I judge all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was not even aware of it because it happened unconsciously. But when you become conscious of your judging, it's like, oh my gosh, I was judging myself all the time.
Right.
But that is also maybe time for another video. But that also comes from comparing yourself with somebody else, and it is also something that we learned to do when we were kids.
Right.
You know, when you were in a classroom and I had a test to do on mathematics. And I was, I think, maybe like always one of the last persons to finish. But then you might hear a comment from your teacher saying like, well, pay attention because this dude over here finished, 10 minutes before you. And then you're like, oh, okay, maybe I'm not really that smart, or maybe I should pay attention a little bit more. So you are actually being compared to somebody else. And then later on you take it over like, oh yeah, somebody else was indeed faster than I am. So maybe I'm too slow. But I'm not.
Right. No, you're perfect.
Yeah, I'm perfect. Who I am. So are you.
Yep, you're doing it exactly the way you're supposed to do. No.
Yeah.
We absolutely, and I don't know about Europe, but America's all about judging people and stuff. It's all over TV, it's all over Twitter, it's all over Facebook, it's all over conversations. And a lot of it is judging superficial stuff, right? Like, look how they're dressed. Look at their hair, right? Look at their, their body type, right? None of that has anything to do with anything that's real or that would be able to benefit anyone, right?
No.
And so it's a distraction. And I think that's part of what the saboteur does to keep us separated from each other, because if we're all supporting each other, there's nothing for the saboteur to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's really interesting how if people even tell people how they're allowed to judge other people. Right? Well, we have things like a beauty contest.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's 1,000% judgment, right?
Mm.
Do you speak right? Do you look right in a bathing suit? Do you look right in an evening gown? Right? Do you answer this question right? Right? It's just an entire judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And we have people who want to be in that, who put themselves in that on purpose. And then we have people who watch that and go, oh, I need to be that and look like that and say that to be worthy and valuable and important. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's insidious. It's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like that in Europe?
Yeah, I don't think that beauty contests are that popular as in the US, but it already starts with the gossip magazines, even on the internet. You know, you see a picture like, or maybe, for example, Two celebrities wearing the same dress. Who wore it better?
I just thought that. Who cares? It's like, oh my God, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. Who cares? It's when they feel comfortable and they feel happy and they really feel beautiful in this dress, then let them wear the dress.
Exactly. Well, and here's the thing. What is it going to change about
Yeah.
anything in the world if somebody looks like a bag of potatoes in it?
Yeah, there's not a disaster. I mean,
I mean, what's it going to affect? Nothing.
no.
It's just a distraction.
Yeah, the only thing that might affect is the self-confidence.
Well, sure, yeah, it wears down people's self-confidence big time. But I mean, the people that are judging them, like, what's the purpose?
Yeah.
What are you trying to get out of that? What are you trying to create that's positive?
Mm-mm.
You know, are you doing it to hurt people? Well, that says a lot about who you are.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing it to hurt people, then it says a lot about your ignorance,
Mm-hmm.
really, about what you're doing. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think we should do a completely different, not a different, but like a separate video on this.
That sounds great.
Because it is like judgment, insecurities within yourself, but also that you can actually create for somebody else. Well, you know, it is not that you're creating it for somebody else. The other person, of course, needs to
Accept it. Yep.
Accept it. Yeah.
And
but
expectations and attachments and yep.
Yeah. That's what I want to say regarding the judgment. It was when you were talking about the beauty contest. For me, in the corporate world, I don't know if you had it when you were still in the corporate world, but there are like these conversations, you know, that you have maybe twice a year, like mid-years and at the end of the year, about how you performed.
Mm-hmm.
I find them super useless.
Yeah.
Because you're being judged by an ego. You know, an ego is something, it's an image of what this person has of him or herself, and then it's trying to project on somebody else, like, oh yeah, you did not really fit into the image or the picture that I have about myself. So yeah, you're going to have a 2 or a 2 rating or whatsoever, you know. It has, I think, in my opinion, it doesn't say anything about your performance.
Right.
It is a judgment.
Exactly. Unless there's measurable things about that, you know, it's just a judgment. It's somebody's opinion, and they're looking through their own perspective and their own jealousies or their own insecurities or their own whatever. Yeah, 100% agree.
Yeah, and if you do not like this person, for example, when you've got 2 people having the same job, they perform in the same way. But when the person who needs to do this, you know, this conversation with person A, and he or she doesn't like this person, but he or she does like person B, then person B automatically get a higher rating because you've got a completely different relationship with the person.
Yep. Different energy, different everything.
Yeah.
Yep. But then they're creating their karma, right?
Yes.
And here's the thing. When you choose preference, right? When you prefer or you judge, that is a choice, and you get the consequence of that. You've set yourself up to be judged.
Mm-mm.
Right? And, you know, the old saying, judge not lest ye be judged.
Mm-hmm.
It's real. And what you're doing is you're creating opportunities for somebody to judge you as lacking, or to offer you less than, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't advise it.
I love your face.
I love your face too.
Oh, thank you. Oh, this was an awesome video.
I think so too. So hopefully folks have gotten some really good information. If you want to have a private session with Cindy, check her out at channelingcarla.com, CARLA.com. And if you want to check out the Manifesting Blueprint, I want my 12 people to be in there.
Woohoo.
go to yourownsoul.com and you can explore there as well. So look for us in about 2 weeks. We're going to do another one, and we will talk with you soon.
Yes. See you later. Bye.